What's up and welcome into the Next Pats podcast. I'm Phil Perry. I'm so excited for what we're about to do here today. It's time for our annual crowd-sourced mock draft. We're doing it a little bit differently this year. Typically, we're just on the X. We're on that X machine, and we're doing our polls, and we're letting you, the people, decide who the Patriots are going to take in this newest version of our mock that'll end up eventually on NBCSportsBoston.com. But here today, we wanted to do it on YouTube Live. We think we'll be able to get some better interaction with you in terms of asking questions. We'll be able to throw up some polls so that for every single Patriots pick, you'll be the ones making the vote. So make sure you exercise your right to vote. Make sure your voices are being heard, and make sure that we understand who you want the Patriots to select to make their team better moving forward. I want to welcome in our guy, John the Skull Crusher Henry, right now, because he's going to be right alongside. He's going to be helping me in terms of figuring out what the people are saying, how the people are voting. John, thanks for being with us. You're also manager of multi-platform content, which is an incredibly important title.
Yes.
And so I'm just thankful that you're able to grace us with your presence here today, quite frankly.
Happy to ride sidecar. Anything you need from me here.
Okay, how about coffee? You do coffee?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right.
I'll just have to step out. But
Okay, we're going to have you shotgun a coffee first, and then I'm going to get a coffee later. Let's get into this right now. And we know the Patriots have the number 4 overall pick, and I should also note, thank you to our friends at Pro Football Focus, because we're going to be using their mock draft simulator as we do really every year for this exercise. And that's really what it is, right? This is a thought exercise. This is to provoke different ideas and different scenarios. This is what the Patriots are doing right now. Mike Vrabel told us yesterday at his pre-draft press conference when asked a question from our own Tommy Curran, hey, what do you do if Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are off the board at number 4? And he said, well, we're going through those scenarios now. And so whether they're using the PFF mock draft simulator or not, I don't know. Wouldn't be a bad idea by them because I think it's a tremendous piece of technology. But this is the kind of stuff they're doing. Okay, if the board falls this way, then what do we do? And once we have this position locked up, then where do we turn to next? What are the trade scenarios involved? So that's what we're going to hammer as we get through this mock draft here today with you all. This is a collective experience. We're all going to go through this thing together. So buckle in. We're going to hit start on the simulator, and we're going to see how these first 3 picks fall. It looks like, oh goodness, best case scenario for the Patriots. Travis Hunter is sitting there available for number 4 overall. I don't even want to put this to a poll, but I feel like we have to because that's the whole idea of the thing. I was not anticipating this is the way it would go, but Cam Ward went 1, Shedeur Sanders went 2 to the Browns, and at number 3, Abdul Carter went off to the Giants. Travis Hunter's just sitting there, friends. I mean, you pop the champagne, throw your hands up, kick your feet up on the desk. This draft is already a success because Travis Hunter is that good, in my opinion. But we are going to go through with the poll, and we're going to put him right at the top of the list. I'm guessing he's going to get an overwhelming number of the votes, but we'll just see how the people feel. Maybe you feel as though, hey, Drake May has to be protected first and foremost. So also on the poll, we're going to put Will Campbell. We're also going to put Mason Graham. Why? I don't know. He's a good player. He's just not going to get selected over Travis Hunter, but we'll put him there because I do think he is one of the top 6 or 7 players in this draft. We'll put Jalen Walker there as well as a premium position. The Patriots aren't necessarily locked up at the edge for the long-term future. We know they have Keon White. We know they have Harold Landry, but those will be our 4 choices. So the poll is going to pop up for you there in just a second. Travis Hunter, this to me is an easy choice, and I'm not going to try to sway. Again, this is your mock draft, people. This is for you. And so you make the choices here. But can I just tell you the comps that I've heard on Travis Hunter, because they range from Garrett Wilson to Devontae Smith to Stephon Diggs, and that's at receiver alone. We're not even factoring in that he's the best cornerback prospect in this year's draft. So this poll is going to pop up for you, if it hasn't already, very, very soon. Skull Crusher, do we have the poll?
The poll is up.
And the votes are streaming in. And so for Travis Hunter, the reasons why are just too easy, John. I mean, How are you feeling as a Patriots fan if Hunter is there on the board at 4 overall?
I mean, I think you've got to take him, but my question to you is if this does happen, and we have ran through these PFF mock drafts, and this is probably the first time in a while that I've seen Travis Hunter actually there.
No doubt.
Would Patriots Nation hate you if you traded?
Yes.
Absolutely, right?
Yes, you can't do it. You can't do it, in my opinion. I don't even want to go through the rigmarole of pulling up a trade on the PFF mock draft simulator because you can't do it. He's too good. I love that we have clips now that we can show you just of the ridiculous ball skills, John. I mean, he is next level when it comes to his instincts and his ability to attack the football as a receiver. And that's how we're going to be discussing him here. Yes, he can give you value at corner, and I think he should. On third down, heck yeah. Travis Hunter, Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, all in the field at the same time. Where are you throwing the football? I don't know. But good luck, because that is, in my opinion, the best man-to-man trio at corner in the NFL immediately. And you wouldn't have to do it all that often with Hunter, right? Because you don't want to overexpose him. He is relatively thin. If there are knocks against him as a prospect, his frame would be one of them. But if you can use him primarily offensively and put those ridiculous ball skills to use, put those ridiculous instincts and that explosive athleticism to take it to the house on just about any single play to good use, then you just sprinkle in a little bit for him defensively and say, hey, we're playing man-to-man. See that guy across the line of scrimmage? That's your guy. In terms of being able, I've talked to Brian Hoyer about this. He feels the same way. Being able to do a little bit defensively is so much easier than being able to do a little bit offensively, where the play calls, the verbiage is just much longer and it is more complicated, whereas defensively you get out there, you know what everybody else is doing, you're playing man, maybe there's a couple of zone calls you got mixed in for him, but to me, you start with him on offense and you go from there, and John, he's going to be able to grow into that position as a receiver because right now he is a little bit raw when it comes to some of the route running, but Josh McDaniels is going to be able to work with this guy, and boy, what a home run choice for the Patriots to be able to make. We still don't know how this is going to go with Shedeur Sanders, right? We really don't. It could be Cleveland. They have a quarterback need. I thought the Joe Flacco signing was actually a little bit interesting in that it means to me they're not going after Kirk Cousins. I thought if the Browns passed on a quarterback early in this draft, that would be a signal that Kevin Stefanski wants to reunite with Kirk Cousins, who he was with in Minnesota and obviously had success with. But they bring in Joe Flacco. And that to me tells me they're not bringing in Kirk Cousins after bringing in Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is the kind of quarterback you bring in if you want a young quarterback to succeed. He's that mentor type that you have in the room with a young player. And so maybe they would be interested in Shedeur Sanders. Whether it's at number 2, I don't know. Is it the kind of player where you actually trade back up into the first round? That to me would make a little bit more sense. I do think he's a first-round quarterback, especially given the bump in value that quarterbacks get in all drafts. You know, maybe he's a second-round, quote-unquote, second-round grade, but you have to take him in the first because of the position that he plays. I could see the Giants doing something similar. I think there really is a chance that he goes in the top 3. I don't know if it's a good chance, but I think it is a non-zero chance just based on people that I've spoken to. It doesn't seem like Cleveland would be the likely landing spot, but it does seem like it would potentially, if he does go in the top 3, be New York. And so I think there's a chance that you do get either Hunter or Abdul Carter. To me, that's where it gets a little bit more complicated. I think with Carter, you're still taking Carter if he's the one who lands to you at 4. If Sanders goes to the Giants at 3 and Hunter goes off the board at 2 to the Browns. If both of those players are gone, that to me is where it gets more complicated. And you bring in the trade scenarios, but you're also thinking about taking Will Campbell or Armand Membu at the top of the draft just to make sure you have that tackle position solidified. Athletically, I've been told Armand Membu can do it. You could flip him from right to left. You don't know how good it's going to look, but he's such a great athlete. There's nothing that he can't do athletically. Will Campbell's a great athlete in his own right as well. And you have seen him play left tackle at a high level, over 2,600 snaps at left tackle in the SEC from a true freshman through his junior year. And I've been describing those two players, those two tackles, Membu and Campbell, as the ultimate floor versus ceiling sort of debate at that position, where Campbell probably has the higher floor just because you've seen him do it, and Membu has the higher ceiling where you're still not sure where this could go with him because he is so athletically gifted. But Campbell's athletically gifted himself. I don't think we should forget that. His relative athletic score way over 9.0, courtesy of Kent Lee Platt. We know what that is all about, height, weight, speed, all the athletic testing that we see from these guys at the Combine. I mean, Campbell and Membu both historically good in that regard in terms of their size, their frames, and their athleticism. Campbell obviously has the shorter arms, but I keep hearing from people that is not as big a factor as it's being made out to be in media circles. And so I'll continue to go back to the well and go back to that story I did with Dante Scarnecchia, it should not be a disqualifying factor. So if Hunter and Carter are off the board, to me, Will Campbell as a leader, something that, let's be honest, offensively, they've probably been lacking over the course of the last couple of years, and especially now with David Andrews gone. I think you have the chance to put somebody with Drake May, play a premium position, bring real leadership, be a flag bearer in terms of the culture that you want from Mike Vrabel, that nasty edge-setting kind of guy in your offensive line room. I think Campbell would be the pick at 4 if those 2 premium guys are off, and you can't trade out. But here, Patriots get their dream pick, and it's Travis Hunter. My guest John, I'm so used to sitting here with Tom Curran. I'm sure he's watching. Hi, Tom. Where is the poll at? What are the number of votes? Is it the landslide I thought it would be?
All right, so we have 118 votes. 85% are taking Travis Hunter, 11% are taking Will Campbell, and 4% are taking Jalen Walker.
Interesting. Okay, the 4%. Listen, you got your Jalen Walker lovers out there, and I get that. He is a little bit more volatile, in my opinion, as a prospect, just based on the people I've spoken to. I've spoken to people who love this guy as a top 5 pick. I've spoken to coaches who are in this market, the edge market, who look at a player like Jalen Walker and they look at the size and they look at the relative lack of sample size, especially on the edge. And he, to them, is more tweener, which has a negative connotation, than he is hybrid, which has that positive connotation. Everybody wants a hybrid that can do a million different things. I've heard some people talk about Jalen Walker as a potential second-round pick in terms of where they would be willing to spend their draft capital on him. So a little bit more all over the board. Here, the Patriots don't have to worry about it. Let's get right to pick 38. Let's just fly through. There's no conversation about trading up, although, you could, in theory, because they don't have that tackle. Thank you, Adam. They don't have that tackle. You could, in theory, talk about trading back into the first round to get the tackle you need. I'm going to ask our friend Casey Keene, who's working the PFF board for us, to filter through and find us a tackle. So let's see who the tackles are that are left, because it looks like Connerly might be off the board. He is. Okay, so not a great situation here at 38 overall, because Josh Connerly from Oregon is gone, and he's not a perfect prospect, but to me, he's a true left tackle. And there ain't many of those, right? And so he's not the ideal player in terms of where he's at in the run game right now. From what I've been told, talked to an offensive coordinator yesterday, is in this tackle market, looking at Connerly, a little bit plotting, especially in the run game. Pass protection, check, check, and check. And on the left side, those are massive checks to have in your favor, right? He's also a young player, and so you're going to see him grow and develop. And, on some of those early downs, you want to see a little bit more. I think in the gap scheme world that we think Josh McDaniels is going to be living in, Josh Connerly's a good fit. But he's off the board here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of these players and we're going to put them on the board. And let's go with both Donovan Jackson and Ariante Ursary on our poll, because one is a guard, which the Patriots still need, but he might be one of the best guards in this class in Donovan Jackson. And he is going to be going in this range, in my opinion, bottom of the first, early second round. And let's go with Ursary as well. And there are some other names on this tackle list that we're going to include, but we're going to roll the dice here, and we're going to see if they're available a little bit later. Now, let's go also to the running back position, Casey, if we could do that, because there are going to be some running backs here, and we know the Patriots are interested in running backs. Oh, I see 2 there that I really want to include. And so, to me, one last position that I would consider here would be edge, just because, listen, you're talking about premium positions, you would think at this spot, this wouldn't be a bad place to invest there, because in my opinion, it's still a need. It's not quite at the level of the other needs that the Patriots have. So on the edge, you got Landon Jackson, who I think is totally worthy of a top of the second round kind of pick. JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. He is a burly edge setting from Ohio State, Mike Vrabel's alma mater, kind of edge defender that I think would also go in this range. But we're going to pass on those 2 guys. No, you know what we're going to do here? Here's what we're going to do. I'll tell you what we're going to do, friends. We're 15 minutes into this thing. We got to start flying through. Let's put Landon Jackson on the board, and let's put Travion Henderson on the board out of Ohio State. So we're not going to go JT Tuimoloau. to go with Donovan Jackson, but we got 2 Buckeyes for the Buckeyes head coach and Mike Vrabel. I got to hydrate during this thing because Lord knows the Skull Crusher's not going to carry me from a spoken words perspective here. But that's our 4. Landon Jackson, the edge defender out of Arkansas, who actually had some really good tape against Will Campbell this past year and was able to use his length. He's not exceptionally long, but he's over 33 inches, was able to use his length, his athleticism, tested incredibly well at this year's combine to his advantage against Will Campbell. We're going to go Landon Jackson. We're going to go Travion Henderson. We're going to go Donovan Jackson. We're going to go Ariante Ursary. Now, I think the people would go with Ursary here.
The poll's live, and right now Ursary's leading.
Yeah,
at 61%.
And I get it because the tackle need is so great. And because you got Travis Hunter in the first round, and that's a best case scenario. Now you feel like, boy, we gotta make sure that tackle spot is filled. And you're not wrong. And I like Ursary. I don't love Ursary. What Ursary is going for him, big body dude. You're talking 6'6", 330 pounds. I mean, he has the frame of a true NFL tackle. He's NFL ready in that regard. He also had a tremendous performance. You're going to be able to watch him at this left tackle position. The athletic maneuver right there. So you see him get out, set an edge in the run game, hits the deck, pops right up, hits his feet, and he's looking for another body. So, this is against North Carolina. You can see good length there. Run around the hoop, allow your quarterback time to step up and run through and pick up some yards with his legs. He also had a really nice game against Abdul Carter. And for me, when you're talking about offensive linemen, and this is something that came up with Cole Strange coming into UT Chattanooga, you got to see these guys against the best of the best and see how they perform. And so for Ariante Ursary to perform and perform well against Abdul Carter, who we know is maybe the best edge defending prospect the last 2 years, like maybe even better from what I've been told than Will Anderson a few years ago out of Alabama. You look at Ursary and say, if we can get that guy every single game and know we're going to get him at left tackle for the foreseeable future, then that's a great pick. And so I could argue making the selection for Ursary. He's a little inconsistent. He's a little bit of a quote-unquote waist bender from some of the evaluators that I've spoken to. And so he's not the perfect prospect, and you have to be comfortable with the fact that if you're taking him in this range, you're hoping you get starters here in the second round, right? I think there are some impact guys, whether it's Jackson, whether it's Travion Henderson, whether it's Donovan Jackson. So we have Landon Jackson and Donovan Jackson here. Like, you're going to get guys that I think, can project a little bit more safely. That's all. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't vote for Ursary. How would I vote in this regard? I don't want to sway the people, but I think I might go Donovan Jackson here. I just think he's got so much power, and in the gap scheme stuff, you're talking duo, double teams at the line of scrimmage, you're talking pulling guard kinds of power plays, counters. I think I can envision him being really impactful right away. And what he did this past season at Ohio State, where Josh Simmons tears his patellar tendon, Donovan Jackson has to kick out from left guard to left tackle and helps him win a national championship. And he's not the most natural left tackle, and that's not where you would be playing him, although he could be an option there for you. But he'd be a high-end, in my opinion, starting and even better than that, maybe Pro Bowl level guard for you someday. And again, I get it, you're rolling the dice and you're hoping you can land that left tackle in the future, but that's where my vote would go. You're still protecting Drake May. You're making sure that interior is solidified. You got him a great weapon. You got him a very good offensive lineman. I'm willing, because I see a couple of tackle names that I feel good about moving forward that might be available to me in the third round. I'm willing to vote for Donovan Jackson, but Skull Crusher, how are the people voting?
The people have spoken. 103 votes. We have 65% for Ursary. Donovan Jackson had 19%. Henderson had 11%. And Landon Jackson had 5%.
Travion Henderson needs more support in this situation. And here's why I say that. Ramondre Stevenson is a good back. He is not a great back. I think you could make the argument over the course of the last 2 years, he has not been the Patriots' best back. And I think if you were looking at it, even getting Ramondre Stevenson at his best, NFL at large, if we're being fair, he's probably somewhere between 12 and 16 in the NFL He's a middle of the pack starting NFL running back. We could roll through the list. Now, Henderson is not Stevenson, and Henderson would not even be your lead back, in my opinion, at least as a rookie. But Henderson is a home run hitting third down back. You're seeing him catch a screen here, and you're going to see how far this thing goes in the college football playoff. He has next level juice. And it's not just the speed that you'd be drafting him for. He has very good hands, and this guy is a demon in pass protection. Not only in pass protection is where you're going to see him mix it up, but for Ohio State, you saw him mix it up as a lead blocker at times. Will Howard going around the edge in the red zone, quarterback run game. And he is out there leading the charge, putting his face mask into people and burying them in the turf. I love Travion Henderson. And if the Patriots are interested in a running back, and it sounds like they are, Mike Vrabel talked about it at the owners' meetings. Robert Kraft talked about it at the owners' meetings. If they want a good young back, and they want somebody who's more of a true sub-back, who could potentially grow into more. Think Aaron Jones, right? Aaron Jones with the Packers. Not the biggest guy in the world. He's right around 200 pounds. I believe Aaron Jones measured in around 5'9" when he was coming out of college. But that kind of guy who's going to be really excelling for you in the pass game and then maybe can do more for you down the line, that to me would be a worthwhile pick here. But we're going to go with Ursary because it sounds like the poll has been decided. And so let's go with Ursary at tackle. The Patriots have their tackle of the future. They have their weapon of the future. I think they've got to be feeling good here. And if you can get that Ariante Ursary that Minnesota got against Penn State, yeah, round of applause there. Round of applause there. That's the Patriots war room right now. Who knows how many people will actually be in there? And I'm not sure if Mike Vrabel's a big clap during the draft guy, but I could see that playing out if through two selections, this is how it worked. Now, the third round is where things get interesting because we know they've got 4 top 100 picks. And this is really still the meat of the draft. To me, second and third round, we know the high-end talent, although the Patriots were able to get one of those guys somehow. The high-end talent is a little bit lacking. The meat of the draft is rounds 2 and 3. And so in round 3, with the receiver off the board and with a tackle off the board, let's not act like they don't still need those positions, right? But let's look at who are the best players available. I want to put Kyle Williams on the board here and on the poll here because the Patriots, I think, they just still need some juice. They're fine on slow receivers. And Travis Hunter's going to give them juice. And Stephon Diggs, I think, is going to give them juice if he can get back and get healthy. I want to put him on the board. I like him so much as a player. But let's hold off on that for now. They do still need a guard. And so Tate Ratledge is right there, and we're going to put Tate Ratledge on the board. So he's going to be our first of 4 selections. Can you scroll down a little bit for me there, Casey? Just scroll down. Let's see who the best players available. Bigger-bodied wideout, and Trey Harris is still there. Let's hold off on that. Let's continue the running back theme here, and let's put R.J. Harvey on the board. So we'll go Tate Ratledge. We'll go R.J. Harvey. Continue to scroll down there a little bit for me, Casey. We've got Jalen Noel. I think, boy, just juice from the slot for both him and Kyle Williams. Talking real speed. I think there's part of me that really would love to just remake this receiver room and have another option to go with Travis Hunter, who I think could play on the outside and really live out there, even though he's not the biggest guy. Think Garrett Wilson. Think Odell Beckham in his prime. Like that's kind of athlete and the kind of hands you're talking about. We got 2 options so far for the poll, John.
Phil, what about Makuba? A few people in the chat. And if you guys have any picks in the chat, please let us know. I
love Makuba's play style. To me, he did not make our list of best fits at safety. You got to have change of direction. You got to have tackle ability. You got to have split safety ability. Think of Mike Vrabel's defense guys, who they used primarily at safety. It was Kevin Byard for years, versatile safety in the box, in the deep half, ball hawking skills, all that. And maybe you think of him as a free safety because all the interceptions he was able to rack up. He did it all. Amani Hooker did it all. Kenny Vaccaro did it all. To me, you got to have more size. Okay, so Makuba to me didn't make the list. I'm thinking we should put Marcus Bowe on the list here. Remind me, Casey, now who we have in the poll, or John, if you can tell me who we have in the poll, because I believe we put Tate Ratledge on the poll as a guard. I believe we put R.J. Harvey on the poll as a guard. I do want to put as a running back. I want to put Marcus Bowe on the list right here, right now, in the third round.
Few people are saying Mason Taylor, Jalen Noel.
You know what? Let's put a receiver on there. Let's put a receiver on there. Which one should it be, though? Should it be Kyle Williams or should it be Jalen Noel? And it's Noel.
Sorry.
For everybody at home. Jalen Noel. I'm sure, listen, I've made that mistake before. I'm sure you're not the only one making that mistake.
When I can hear Noel.
Yeah, sure. I get it. You're sounding it out. You're like my 8-year-old doing his second grade homework.
Taylor or Noel?
I'm gonna put Noel. Let's put Noel on the list. Real juice from the slot. To me, you get some Christian Kirky kind of vibes. Usable player. Disappointing, I think, to some degree in terms of, how he's made good on the massive contract that he signed a couple years ago. But let's be real here. You are where you are in the third round. And I love putting another receiver on there just to see where the people's heads are at. It's easy to chase the shiny toy, John, when you've got you've got that option just right in your face. But you already have Travis Hunter. So is that the smartest thing to do? Or should you go with one of these interior offensive linemen? And I would love to bring up some of the video of Bo if we can here, because he is somebody who is just so fun to watch. And you're going to see him at right tackle. He was a right tackle at Purdue this past year. He has played right guard as well. You would be drafting him if you're the Patriots to play at either guard or even center. And I know they have Garrett Bradbury there. He's not the long-term solution at center. This guy is violent. He knows how to use his hands, and he loves to finish. I love the demeanor for Marcus Bowe, and he is a really good athlete. He does not have great length, which is why you're projecting why you're projecting, and he doesn't use his length all that well. And I think there might be some, athletic questions just in terms of how would he hold up on an island on the edge in the NFL. But you see him just make some absolutely comical blocks at times, throwing guys around one-handed when he gets the opportunity to, always putting people in the dirt when he gets the opportunity to. Tate Ratledge would probably be the cleaner option of these two interior offensive linemen that are on our poll right now, because you've just seen him play more guard over time. And this is a guy who was a real culture guy at Georgia, played in the SEC. I mean, thank God we had the video here. Just for that alone. Oh, the hand through the mullet with the mustache. He's an immediate fan favorite if you take him, and you'd be starting him immediately at left guard. Now, you're seeing him at right guard here. Number 69, very Cole Strangey of him on the interior there. But he's somebody who has great size. He almost has a tackle's frame. He's 6'6". And I think some people get a little uncomfortable there. You're going to see him in space here, though, leading the charge on the screen against a great athlete, playing the University of Florida. That to me is why he's more projectable than Bo. I like Bo's upside because there's still, you're still trying to figure out what he would be on the interior. And I think I like Bo's hands a little bit better. Some of the high-end stuff in terms of the one-on-one blocks are a little bit better than Ratledge. But Ratledge, to me, just feels like a safe starter. And so that might be, quite frankly, where I go here. I know we have R.J. Harvey. Really interesting. If we have some R.J. Harvey video, would be a fun guy to show the people as well. Just because you look at him, and this is a former quarterback. We know what Josh McDaniels has done in the past with former quarterbacks in that offensive huddle. I think when you're talking about projecting him as somebody who you could use on third down, again, that Travion Henderson role that we're talking about, to me, he's a little easier to project as an every down back. Harvey is, but he's relatively new to the position. He actually went to UVA as a quarterback. So, that's the kind of quarterback prospect he was. He transitions. He's obviously not quarterback size. If you're watching the video here, you can see, he's a little stouter frame, but I think that would actually allow him to hold up a little bit better on first and second down. So you'd be starting him off as a third down guy to complement Ramondre Stevenson, and then long term, maybe he ends up being your every down kind of guy here. But you see him in the Wildcat. Again, you could use him in these trick plays that we saw from Josh McDaniels for years. So really, really fun player. I'm a little torn, but I want to eat. This is sort of an eat your vegetables kind of day two of the draft for me. You got the toy on day one. Day two, you're taking Ursary, and then I think I would go Ratledge here at pick number 69, I'd go with number 69, Tate Ratledge, and I'd feel pretty good about it. But where are the fans at, John?
All right, with 94 votes, we have Tate Ratledge at 39%, Noel at 35%, Bo at 15%, and Harvey at 12%.
Okay, so let's lock it in. Let's put that pick down. Tate Ratledge, we are securing. Boy, Drake May's got to feel good about this draft right now. Can you imagine? He got himself a number 1 receiver, he got himself a tackle, and he got himself a guard. The offensive line in New England has already improved drastically. You've got 2 starters with your second and third picks. Plus, you got a receiver who is going to be able to get open often, and be able to really take the load off of Drake May's shoulders on third down, even in the red zone, some of these high-pressure situations. Fantastic job. Yeah. I love that. This is elevator music. We're waiting for those like 8 picks between 69 and 77 in the third round. This is the Matthew Judon pick. Let's get excited for this pick. I don't know. Maybe this pick does have people feeling sexy, which would make this music appropriate. But we're back on the board, John, and there's a lot of these same guys there, right? So R.J. Harvey's still there, but he really didn't get a lot of love. So, boy, let's go with Kyle Williams here. Let's keep the receiver option available, okay?
Why no Jalen Royals?
I like Jalen Royals. I think in terms of route running and speed and yards after catch, Kyle Williams is a yak player. And that, to me, is one of the reasons why I actually like him a little bit better than Noel. Noel might be every bit the deep threat that Kyle Williams is, but he's the kind of guy you're going to be able to throw it to him on a screen and just watch him take it to the house. He ran 4.40 in the 40, and at the Senior Bowl, he was lightning. He was, okay, you want to talk about sexy, feeling sexy? Watch Kyle Williams at the Senior Bowl. Go find it. Go pull up a second screen. I know you're watching us on your first screen right now. Pull up a second screen and watch this guy at the Senior Bowl and watch his releases and the quickness and the footwork. It is next level. And so I know you already got a relatively undersized, and I say relatively undersized because Travis Hunter is light. But there is certainly a world in which you could play Hunter and Williams and Steph Diggs all on the field at the same time. And maybe you don't love this pick because you love Pop Douglas, and I really like Pop Douglas. But I think Kyle Williams would give you a little more juice down the field. Pop Douglas, a fast guy. He's more of a short to intermediate kind of option in the passing game. I think Kyle Williams is more than that. So he's going to be one of our options.
What about Makuba?
No, we're no on Makuba. Stop asking for Makuba. We obviously somebody from the Makuba family's on the chat.
It's a sneaky need.
No, safety is a sneaky need. If you want to go safety, let's go with Kevin Winston Jr. Let's put him on the board.
Okay.
All right. He's our second option on our poll. If you want to go, we still don't need, or we still haven't selected, I should say, edge. So take me to the edges, and I see Oluwafemi Oladejo at the top of the list there. I like him. I don't love him. This is the mid-third round. I think if you wait till pick 106, which is high fourth round, Ashton Gelati might still be there, but I would rather have Gelati than Oladejo. So let's put Gelati on the board as well right now in the third round. So we've got Kyle Williams. We've got, tell me who our other option was there that we just talked about. Oh, Kevin Winston Jr., the safety. Okay. Now take me to the tackles, Casey. Casey Keene, you're so important to the overall operation here. Take me to the tackles.
Is Ozzie still there?
Is Ozzie Trapillo still on the board? Scroll down. He's not.
He's gone.
Ozzie's gone. Oh, one of our, boy, we can't go through a Next Pats podcast without mentioning the pride of BC and BC High, Ozzie Trapillo. However, I do want to do one thing here, because I think right tackle is going to be a need eventually, right? I think even swing tackle could be a need. We have edge on the board. We have, do we have running back? Take me to the running backs really quickly, Casey. Because running back, again, we've had them on our list, but we have not had them as a selection just yet. R.J. Harvey's still there. Damian Martinez, who I love as a big back, but he is a big back. He is not a complement to Ramondre Stevenson. He would be a replacement for Ramondre Stevenson, and I don't think you're doing that at this stage. I really love him, though. Another fun highlight to watch. So now you've got homework people. Damian Martinez, as well as Kyle Williams. Some of our other round 3 options. Let's think. Ozzie.
Is Charles Grant
Yes. So Charles Grant, if we have video of Charles Grant, can we watch Charles Grant just beat up on some people at the FBS level? Because this man is all kinds of impressive. He's got length. He has hands. He has a wrestler's background, and he is just so entertaining against this lesser competition, and that's all the reason I really want to show you. He's out in space. The athletic movement. Oh, put that guy in the first row, why don't you, Charles Grant? That's the kind of player he was at this level, and obviously, yes, throw him down and then go hit him again. This is one of the more entertaining tapes that you could watch at the tackle position, and he's just burying people, and it's just not fair. So, to me, though, smaller school. If he was at a bigger program, I'm just going to be laughing through this highlight because that's how comical some of this stuff is. If he was at a bigger program, you're talking about an easy second-round pick and maybe even a first-round pick. I think he's that impressive athletically, and he might not be somebody you're comfortable with playing right away just because of the jumping competition and because maybe there are some things, technique-wise that you'd like to see from him that you're not seeing. But I think technique-wise, he's actually pretty solid, and that's what I've been told from scouts in terms of the patience with his hands and how to protect his chest. And so maybe he ends up, guys, being a second-round pick because the league will see the same things we're seeing right now and say, we can't wait on this guy. This guy's a left tackle. If it's not year one, it's year two because of the jumping competition. Let's put him on the board. Let's put him on the board because he is a worthwhile double dip at tackle here. And so I like our options. So, John, who are our options with the second, third round pick? The four picks that we've had up there, because I think we can wait a little while on running back and come back to that position later in the draft.
Yeah, I think Casey can let you know. I don't have the three that we've come up with right now.
Okay.
All right, it's up there. All right, we got Kyle Williams, Kevin Winston Jr., Ashton Gillott.
Gelati.
I knew I was going to say it wrong.
Yeah, it's a long E.
And Charles Grant. Those are our four.
Okay, I love it. Let's talk a little bit about Kevin Winston. Kevin Winston is coming off a torn ACL, and so you might not love that fit. Kevin Winston is maybe the most violent safety in the draft class. And so if that's what you want defensively, if you're the New England Patriots, and it's why he was near the top of the list for best fits at that position on our best fits list, our best fits series on NBCSportsBoston.com, is because of the violence. Let me read to you a little bit from our best fits write-up. He's a violent tackler. We know that's what the Patriots are looking for. 6'1", 215 pounds. And he's able to balance his aggressiveness with a level of discipline that allowed him to play penalty-free in 27 games over 3 seasons. That, to me, is a key stat because if you're a college football fan, it might drive you crazy, but it's a reality of the game now. Those enforcers at safety, they, generally speaking, don't exist anymore because guys don't want to get tossed for targeting, right? That's the risk you run. And so you're not seeing those really violent, heavy hitters, borderline hit kinds of players at the safety position as often as you used to. To me, Winston's able to combine that kind of violence with discipline that to me might make him a great fit in Mike Vrabel's defense. Okay, so if you're looking for somebody who can be that kind of in the box and deep half of the field type of player, put him with Kyle Duggar, who we think can do both. Put him with Jabril Peppers, who we think can do both. You might be out there saying they need a true free safety. That's not really what they had in Tennessee for years with Mike Vrabel. I already listed you the guys he used the most at that position, and they were do-it-all guys. So that's why Kevin Winston's on the list. How's the poll looking right now, John?
All right. We've got 30% for Kyle Williams.
Who else do we have?
27% for both Gelati and Charles Grant.
Wow, interesting.
Kevin Winston Jr. is 16%. Close poll.
Okay. Can I make a case for Ashton Gelati right now?
Please do.
And if we have the video of Ashton Gelati, I would love to show it because to me, he does not have the length that you want. He's not the prototype on the edge out of Louisville, but he tested extremely, extremely well. And I'm going to pull up his RAS numbers here. But you watch him, and you can see he doesn't have the greatest length in the world just by looking at him, but his frame is really solid. And so you could easily envision him being a 3-down player at the next level. He comes in at 6'3", 264. So he, to me, the first name that comes to mind when you talk about those measurables is Rob Ninkovich. And I look at his motor as being one of his strengths, and that was one of Rob Ninkovich's strengths. Rob Ninkovich, friend of the program, so maybe we're biased. That guy didn't come off the field. I mean, regular basis playing over 1,000 snaps a season. All 3 downs, and was not the longest guy in the world. Gelati has just 32-inch arms. So very rarely is he going to be using that long arm move where he's the first into the opposing tackle's chest and he's just powering him back purely with length. But he can beat you in other ways. The little hump move there that you just saw, Reggie White-esque. But he is a specimen athletically. 36.5-inch vertical, 10-foot broad jump, 4.65 in the 40, 4.35 in the shuttle, and a sub-7-second 3-cone at 264 pounds. That's hard to find. And he has a pass rush win rate, according to Pro Football Focus, of 21%. That's next level. That's elite of the elite. And I'll read off some of the elite numbers that are in this year's draft class. James Pierce from Tennessee, who's widely considered a first-round pick. He's at 23. Abdul Carter was at 22.6. Ashton Gelati's at 21. To me, there would be real value in taking him at this spot. I would take him over Winston. I think I'd even take him over Kyle Williams, as much as I love Kyle Williams, because you just took a receiver who's going to be getting a ton of snaps. And the 4th player on this list, John, was who?
Charles Grant.
Charles Grant. That's a sexy one, too. Wow. And I really love the high-end ability there for Charles Grant. What's the poll saying here? Because we got to make a pick.
The people have spoken. We're taking Kyle Williams with 31% of the votes.
I get it, guys. Listen, I'm not going to blame you. Were you going Kyle Williams, too, Skull Crusher, after watching that highlight tape? I mean, he is. You could throw it to him down the field. You could throw it to him short and watch him run. This receiver room just got a lot more fun with Hunter and Williams. Would you be taking him, or would you be going with like one of those bigger bodies, Gelati or Grant?
I think the Vrabel impact of Gelati, I think not addressing the defense yet might be, if it's a Vrabel pick.
Oh, but look at this. Look at this. What luck. Is this the luckiest mock draft of all time for Patriots fans? Gelati's still there at 106 in the 4th round. Yeah, the crowd's going crazy. The Patriots cheerleaders are beside themselves. Okay,
What are they doing at the draft?
Okay, it's a little strong. That reaction's a little strong, but we are going to put Ashton Gelati on the board. Put him on the board. There's no reason not to, and hopefully he gets the love he deserves. But this is going to be a defense heavy. We're going to go defense heavy, and we're going to go one running back. So let's put Jamari Caldwell. These guys are all right at the top of the list, and I think all these guys are fits for Mike Vrabel. So we're going to go Gelati, we're going to go Caldwell, and we're going to go. I'm second-guessing this now. I'm second-guessing it. Do we put Jacob Parrish in this draft class when you took a player who is going to get corner snaps for you at 1 overall? Let me see the running backs, Casey. Bring back the running backs. Jaden Blue, Trevor Etienne, interesting player. To me, not as much juice as Jaden Blue ran on the 4.3s and is a threat to take it to the house at any time. Same with Bashal Tootin, one of my favorites in this class. A little bit of a fumbling issue, but runs hard. My goodness, does he run hard, Tootin does. Do you go Trevor Etienne?
Tom Curran loves Brashard Smith. He's weighing in on the chat.
Oh, Tom Curran, thank you for weighing in the chat. Brashard Smith is a nice option. He's a little undersized for me. He's sub 200 pounds, but he's a former receiver and transitioned to that running back position. So he's going to be able to run you real routes, like run you down the field vertical routes as a running back. I just would worry about him a little bit in pass protection. I would worry about him holding up just because he's a little undersized. You know, even somebody like, you know, again, thinking back to Vrabel's time in Tennessee, he took Tajay Spears out of Tulane with a 3rd-round pick. Tajay Spears was short, but he was thick. Let's just call it what it is. A couple of C's on that. You know, he's over 200 pounds. So I don't love Brashard Smith, even if Tom wants to put him on the board here. Let's think. How about tight end? Tight end's a very deep class as well. Let's take a look at the tight ends. We had some love for Mason Taylor a little bit earlier. Gunnar Helm is still available. Mitchell Evans. Jackson Hawes might be the best run blocking tight end out of Georgia Tech in this year's draft class. I think it's too early for all of those guys, quite frankly. Let's go back to the edge group. I know we have Gelati on there as well. Oluwafemi Oladejo. No, I'm not feeling any of these guys. So, scroll back up for me, Casey, and show me tackles again. And let's see who's available there. Cameron Williams, Jalen Travis, that's a later round option to me. Who have we committed to on the poll? This is something I should be writing down now that we're through we're through 4 full picks, but we have Ashton Gelati,
I think
Caldwell.
Okay.
Let's put Jacob Parrish on there from K-State. I think this guy might go in the 2nd round, people. And he's still there in the 4th. And so you could say it's unrealistic, but he's there in this mock draft. And maybe teams they're so, conscious about value. You look at a slot corner and he's a slot only. And I don't know if Parrish is that, but he might be. And maybe they're not willing to take him there. So let's go. We got a DT on here. We have an edge defender. We have a corner. Let's put a running back on the board. Let's throw a running back on there.
Jarquez Hunter?
Jarquez Hunter, interesting player. Really runs hard. To me, he's a little bit more of a big back. I think you could use him a variety of different ways. Hard-nosed. Was suspended last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think he was suspended early last season. Allegedly, should make sure we keep saying that. Had a sex tape find its way onto the internet, and I believe the team suspended him in reaction to that. But in terms of football character, I know there are football people that really like the way this guy plays, and they like the hard-nosed style with which he runs. But let's put, you know what? I think because it's newsy, it's timely, let's put Trevor Etienne on the board.
Love it.
Let's put him on the board as the 4th selection. And the reason I say that is because he made a visit to Gillette Stadium. I saw our friend Mark Daniels from Mass Live tweet this last night. He found on the old Instagram story for Trevor Etienne that he was at Gillette Stadium. So unless he was just walking around One Patriot Place, beautiful, maybe going for lunch at Davio's, it seems as though he has made a visit to the Patriots. Let's just say this. If you are familiar with Etienne's brother, Travis, not the same player. To me, he would be a 3rd down option. To me, he'd give you really good and sound pass protection ability and really good hands. He's not as electric as some of the other guys that are actually still on this list. We're going to wait a little while, and if we don't take Etienne here, if the good people voting at home don't take Etienne here, we'll go with one of these more electric guys who I think are bigger play threats. But I think at this point in the draft, 4th round, that makes a lot of sense for him. Any initial reaction to the poll to this point, Skull Crusher?
Yeah, we got 60% looking at a Gelati. So
Gelati, did we talk him enough? Did we talk him up enough with the late 3rd round pick that 30 picks later, the fact that he's still available? Maybe you go with him. I just think premium position, put him with Keon White. Put him with Harold Landry Jr. Now, he is more White than Landry, right? He is that thicker, play him against the run, have him get upfield. You're probably not going to ask him to do a whole lot in terms of dropping into coverage. Landry's a very different body type. Landry, I was told at times in Tennessee last year, played in the 230s. Ashton Gelati's 265. So that's not what you're getting. But in some ways, that might be what you need, right? And so I really like him there. And unless there's another option, John, that where it looks like there's another one of these players that's creeping up in terms of the vote, I think we should just take Gelati.
Yeah, I say we call it.
4th round pick.
Let's take that pick. He's
all right. You sound so excited about it, Skull Crusher. It's really incredible to me just how happy you are to go with. Is it Louisville? You're down on Louisville Cardinals.
No, I know I have no dog in the fight here. I think it makes a lot of sense.
You would have gone with somebody else, though, is what it sounds like.
No, I wouldn't. I think it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine, right? It's fine.
It's fine. Okay.
Although
I think it's pretty good.
yeah,
I think as a next level
yeah.
athlete, I think he's kind of freaky. And I just, again, you're going to get people that, that love talking about arm length. They're going to look at him and say he's a shade under 32, which he is. I think he was 31 and 7/8. So he's a little shorter armed fella. But if he's Rob Ninkovich, hi Nink, he might be out there too. He's a follower of the Next Pats podcast. That to me in the 4th round, it's incredible value. So, and I just love. I think we've done a good job here of getting guys that are going to fit the program. When I see Hunter, when I see Ratledge, when I see Williams, when I see Gelati, and I don't know enough about Ursary and what makes him tick. What I've heard from him football-wise, maybe a little inconsistent in terms of what you're getting on a week-to-week basis. Like, does he just ramp it up for the highest level competition? Like, to see him play well against Abdul Carter and then have other games where he's not the same guy, is there some concern there in terms of the consistency and the overall effort and approach? But boy, I think by and large, we've got some Mike Vrabel guys here. So we're well into day 3 now. We've got 2 5th-round picks and 2 7th-round picks. And I just want to thank everybody at home for voting. This is a lot of fun. This is a blast for me. I think we've handled this pretty damn well to this point so far. No wheeling and dealing, no real wheeling and dealing necessary, in my opinion, especially with that 1st-round pick being the one that everybody is hoping for, I think, at home. I think if you ask Patriots fans right now, if there was one player available at 4 overall, who would they want? It would be Travis Hunter. So let's get to the 5th round. And now this is where things start getting fun, because I think, we've been trying to take care of needs. We've been trying to take care of the offensive line. We tried to take care of the receiver position. You've added some real speed. As one evaluator told me last night, Patriots have enough slow receivers. Okay. So if you're thinking about some of the bigger bodied guys that I like, right? And I've had them going to the Patriots before mock drafts as well. Trey Harris, Jack Betch. I really like these guys. They're not speed demons. And while I think they could upgrade your room, I think they could be not speed demons who still represent better players. They need some speed there. And you gave them 2 really fast guys. So now we're in the 5th round, and I see some names I like. And Skull Crusher, I can see you squirming. Is there something you'd like to suggest?
We've been asked to try to find a tight end.
Okay.
Or a pass-catching running back.
Okay, and I think that's fair. So let's start there. Again, this is a draft that's by the people for the people. This is your draft. And at tight end, this is a really deep class. And so this to me is, in some ways, where you might start looking, especially where you have 2 that can play, will know the system, and both Henry and Hooper. Hooper has experience with McDaniels from his time in Vegas. Is this the top of the food chain, tight ends wise? Benjamin Urasek, is he at the top of the list? Because I'm not gonna love that one for them, but I am gonna like. I'm gonna ask you, Skull Crusher, because you're sitting here next to me. Mm-hmm. Would you rather at tight end? Would you rather go with the meat and potatoes, dominate people in the run game type of player? And Jackson Hawes, actually an Ivy League guy, 4 years at Yale, and then transferred to Georgia Tech and just beat the you-know-what out of people at Georgia Tech. Or the athlete, because Thomas Fedone, the second to me, is the more athletic version. So let's pick one of those 2 guys to put on the poll.
That's tough. I'll go Thomas Fedone.
Okay, yeah, let's do the. Yeah,
if you're angry at that, let me know in the chat.
He's the flashier pick, and I like that. So let's put Fedone on the list. Let's go to running back now, Case. If you could give us some pass-catching running back, because I think that is a fair want and need at this point in the draft. Again, holy moly, Trevor Etienne, still on the board. You know what's interesting, though? Both speedy guys have come off, is what it looks like. Unless you scroll down a little bit more for me. I think Bashal Tutin's gone.
Yeah, you lost your Tutin.
We lost our Tutin. Darn Tutin, we lost our Tutin.
Yeah.
Bashal Tutin's gone. Jaden Blue is gone. Let's scroll back up, Case. Kalel Mullings, straight out of Milton Academy. He is a Boston guy. He is a local guy. He is a big back who'll beat you up. So not quite what we're looking for. Marcus Yams is really interesting to me. If you listen to our Next Pats episode with Emery Hunt, he brought up Delaware's own Marcus Yams. I called him Yams. It's don't call me Yams, Marcus Yarns. But that thing where you get the R and the N together, I've been reading Yams. That's how good my eyes are when I'm looking at the screen. Oh, goodness gracious. It's getting late into the podcast here. We're almost an hour in.
Too. It's okay.
Okay. Marcus Yarns, we could go there. You know what? Let's throw ATN back on the board, though. Again, I think in terms of what we're looking for, pass catching ability, he's just not all that explosive. And he's a little, to me, and I'm going to double check his size right now, but he to me is a little undersized as well. And so he did not make our list of best fits for the Patriots. But the fact that he was here on a visit, it tells you there's at least some level of interest. Now, maybe they're trying to get to know him a little bit better. Yeah, he came in at 5'9", 198. So he just a shade under 200. And if that's the benchmark we're looking for, let's give him credit for that. He did get arrested for a DUI last year around this time. It was March of 2024. And so, you bring him in on a visit. This is among the things you're checking out is off the field decision making. You're just trying to talk to the guy, get to know him a little bit better. Injuries, etc. But to me, I think he brings to the table, that third down presence that you're looking for. So let's go ATN. Let's go with Thomas Fedone.
Can we do Brashard Smith? Would that make any sense?
No, I don't care what Curran says. Brashard Smith is off the board.
Turns out it's not Curran. It's
I know. Sorry.
Curran. Sorry about that.
Let's look at some offensive linemen. So let's do interior offensive line. Yep. Put on the board. Oh, should we go? Can we go Willie Lampkin in the 5th round? Let's. It's a little early for Willie.
Sorry, Willie.
I'm sorry, Willie. Let's put Miles Frazier on the board. Miles Frazier, I see your name at the bottom of the list. Miles Frazier made our list of Dane Brugler's blue-collar ballers, so we're going to put him on the list. So we got Miles Frazier, we got Thomas Fedone, we've got Trevor Etienne, and we have a tight end. We have a pass-catching back. Let's look at corner and safety. Let's look at some DBs, Case. Who do we have at corner? Who do we have at safety? We've got Robert Longerbeam, one of the better names in the draft. Undersized, very light, would be a slot-only probably kind of player. Let's scroll down just a little bit. Case. Mac McWilliams, another slot who I could find interesting. Okay, let's scroll back up and let's take a look at some safeties and let's pick a name on the safety list because I think there are going to be some names that we like there. And let's see what we can do. Let's get Jordan Hancock on the board here. Can we talk a little Jordan Hancock? Because he made our list of best fits, and this is another Ohio State guy. Jordan Hancock, to me, is interesting because you could play him anywhere. He actually made our list of best slots, but he is listed here as a safety. And if we have video of him, I'd love to show the video because this guy has a nose for the football. 6 feet, 195. We don't have video of Jordan Hancock, and that's fine. But he's 6 feet, 195, played in all 16 games for the national champion Bucks. 8 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and a pick. So he to me, if you're looking for slots, is interesting because he's a little bit bigger body. Okay? Thomas Fedone is interesting as well because, again, you're talking about athleticism at the tight end position. And you're talking about a frame that I think can put on a little bit more weight. And so if that's what you're worried about. Now, he played through injury at Nebraska. And it might be part of the reason why he's not a little bit bigger, the fact that he has dealt with injury. 34-inch arms, 6'5", 243. So to me, you're looking at that kind of wingspan and the kind of athleticism where you're talking 35.5-inch vertical, 10.6 broad jump, 4.7 40, almost a 7 flat 3-cone, John Henry. I know how much you love the 3-cone. To me, I would think long and hard about going Fedone here and betting on the upside. I think at this stage of the draft, John, that's the kind of thing that you might be interested in is upside at that position. Because we know Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, into their 30s, those guys aren't going to play forever. But if you get a guy who you think is smart, has good hands, and has the athleticism that'll translate at the next level, when you're talking tight ends, you need to be talking athleticism because it's the best athletes, generally speaking, who make it in this league. I think that might be where my vote goes, although Trevor Etienne, to me, is interesting because I think that might be even more of a need than tight end is at this point for this offense.
And the people agree with Etienne. It will be 45%.
Okay.
Make the pick.
All right.
Tight end level is close, 25%.
Well, how did the other votes come in? Any Hancock love?
20% for Hancock, 11% for Frazier.
Okay, Miles Frazier. Again, who's just a tough SOB on the interior. And I just don't think you can have enough of those guys. But they already have Tate Ratledge. So 2 Georgia Bulldogs. Couple of good dogs. Trevor Etienne, he's your third down running back. Tate Ratledge, both off the board. Now you're into the 5th round, a little bit deeper. Pick 171. This is actually the pick. This is the Joe Milton pick, friends. This is the pick you got from the Dallas Cowboys for Joe Milton. So I see a couple names that I already like, and we're going to put them back on the board. We're going to put back on the board Jordan Hancock. I'm not trying to force feed him, but I do think he's an interesting player. Ty Robinson is going to get my vote as a defensive interior player here as well. So let's put both of those players on the board. We have our back. Let's look back at the tight ends. Casey, let's see who we got at tight end. Because it could be Fedone. Fedone is still there. Luke Lachey is still there as well. And one more time for me, go to defensive interior. The DIs. We haven't taken a linebacker either. This is the point where you're going to start looking at special teams guys. Give me a quick look at the linebackers case. Because 5th round, 7th round, like this is where you've got Jeremy Springer on the horn and you're asking him like, oh my God, hold on. Danny Stutzman? Danny Stutzman still available? This is Dane Brugler's number 3 linebacker in the entire. Give me Stutzman on the poll.
We need one more.
100%. I know it's PFF, and I know maybe they value linebackers a little bit differently than everyone else. Holy mackerel. Let's put Stutzman on the board, and let's put Fedone back on the board. So let's put Fedone and Hancock along with Stutzman, and who is our 4th?
Ty Robinson.
Oh, Ty Robinson. Yes. Okay, good.
There's our 4th.
Love it. Love it. I think that's a great foursome right there. And I don't know where the people are going to go here. Maybe they'll go Fedone after we just talked him up a little bit. And I don't know if we're at the point in the draft, friends. This is like, we would call this the Tavon Wilson, maybe even Jordan Richards point of the draft where you're watching like the big national broadcast, although you're going to be watching, easy for me to say an hour into the podcast. You're going to want to be watching us and our On the Clock special on night 1 of the draft. You're going to want to keep it here because we're going to be able to tell you everything about whatever the Patriots end up doing, talking to our sources. Tom Curran, myself, Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated is always with us on the first night of the draft, and so that's going to be a blast. You're going to be wanting to watch us, but we might be at the portion of our crowdsourced mock here live on YouTube where we don't have a whole lot of video for these guys.
No,
okay.
No.
So like in the same way that they didn't have video for Tavon Wilson, or they had very little video, I think, of Jordan Richards when they made those surprise picks in the 2nd round years ago. But Ty Robinson, to me, is a violent interior defender. He's a little lighter. He's going to be closer to 295, but he's long, 6'5", and his motor will never stop running. He will chase you down from the backside of the play. He will make sure that if you're a quarterback who likes to hold on to the football, that you never feel comfortable during those 2.5, 3.5 second dropbacks. To me, he has upside at a position where the Patriots, to me, need depth, right? We know they have Milton Williams. We know they have Christian Barmore, but we don't know what his availability is going to be. I think even though he is not like a true nose, that's not necessarily, again, what Vrabel has preferred in the past. He's had a lot of violent, heavy-handed, high work ethic types of players on the interior that just aren't massive, right? Occasionally, you think of Daquan Jones, a little closer in the 320-pound range. But I think Ty Robinson as a 3 technique who can move all over the defensive line, to me, would be really interesting. Stutzman, I just hate that I hate for him that he's still available here, John.
Well, the people have spoken, and Stutzman is the pick.
I love
42%.
it. Okay, so they're sensing my excitement. And watch Stutzman here. Stutzman is old school. You're going to see a cowboy collar there, and if you don't love that, I hate you. And you know what? You can go ahead and log off right now. But he is a fit for this year's group because even if he's not the most fluid athlete, good size, 6'3", 236, aggressively pursues collisions near the line of scrimmage. He is confident. He is a 12-gallon hat wearing you-know-what who just absolutely loved playing football for the Oklahoma Sooners. He tested great. 4'5", 240 at 236 pounds and would 100% fit what Vrabel and Terrell Williams, the defensive coordinator, want in terms of violent players in their front 7. So, former to me, he's kind of the captain-y type. He is a Robert Spillane type, in my opinion. Put it on the board. I love that the people took Stutzman here. Now we're into the 7th round. And now, again, we're going to be loading you guys up with some really late day 3 options, and I have a few here that I really like. So we still don't have a tight end, do we? Let's take a look at the tight ends, Casey, because there's a couple that are late in the draft here. Okay, let's go. Let's throw Aronde Gadsden the second, not to be confused with his dad who played in the NFL. He's going to be on the list for us. Let's look up the linebackers, Case. Give me some linebackers here. And let's get these people a poll that they can vote on. The linebackers. I love Smail Mondin Jr. Let's put him on the list. We're also going to put Eugene Asante on the list. And then also in the 7th round, give me some slot corners. Let's look at the cornerback position. And let's just see what might be available there. Because if there's a certain someone from Tulane still available, I'm going to want him on this list. So Mac McWilliams, okay. Scroll down for me a little bit, Casey. Let's go back up to safeties because they might have him listed as safety. Because this is going to be my... Oh, Ty Robinson's still there. So is Jordan Hancock. What's going on here? Scroll down a little bit for me. Shiloh Sanders. Okay. Scroll up, and we will go... You know what? Let's go with Hunter Wohler. Let's put him on the board as well. Because I just want to at least mention, we're talking about Mike Vrabel and Mike Vrabel types. We have to think about, in my opinion, we have to think about Mike Vrabel relationships, okay? So guys from BC, he's going to trust what Bill O'Brien tells him. He loves Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien's one of his best friends in coaching. You know who is another one of his best friends in coaching? Luke Fickell. You know where Luke Fickell coaches? He was at Cincinnati. Now he's at Wisconsin. Hunter Wohler, to me, is somebody who was a leader for Luke Fickell, who fits the bill as one of these split safety, can do a little bit of everything types. He's not going to be the most athletic player at this position in this year's draft class, but he is somebody that we have to talk about. Do we have any Eugene Asante film? Is there any out there? Give it to me. If we have it, I need to see it because this guy is one of the most entertaining linebackers in the draft. I love it. Our prayers have been answered. Eugene Asante shot out of a freaking cannon. I love this player. He is going to immediately be a core 4 special teamer for you. He plays with his hair on fire. He's going to bow to the crowd after he breaks your ribs, and he's not going to feel bad about it. This guy is aggressive. He is physical. He plays bigger than his size at 6'1". He's only 223 pounds. Okay, so he's borderline Kyle Duggar sized. But that at this stage of the draft, I'm okay with that because he spent 3 years at UNC before transferring to Auburn, and then he led the team in tackles immediately in 2023 at 86 tackles, 8.5 for a loss, and 5 sacks. He has range for days. He ran a 4.48 40. He has over 700 kicking game reps under his belt. 700 special team snaps, friends. This guy is going to be a freak in the 3rd phase of the game. And even though you just took a linebacker, my vote's going for Eugene Asante in the 7th round here. Because that, to me, is the kind of player that you're looking for late on day 3.
Phil, the people want a tight end. Gadsden ran away with it. 70%.
All right. I could see that. And you know what? To me, he's a little bit interesting because he did make our list of best fits at the position. Again, we mentioned his dad, late 90s, early 2000s, played in the NFL. And we have some film of Gadsden here as well, out of Syracuse. 6'5", 243 pounds. He's a little undersized, but he fits the mold of one tight end that the Patriots, not the Patriots, but Mike Vrabel has used in the past, Chigakonkwo. And Chigakonkwo, the Titans took this player in 2022 in the 4th round, and he was a next-level athlete. He was only 6'2", 238. He was a little undersized, but a 4.52 40, which was the 94th percentile, a 35.5-inch vert. And I would say Gadsden is sort of in that mold. He was a little bit undersized, but he had 934 yards receiving last year, third team AP All-American, 6'5", 243. He's a move tight end, guys. And I know you have Jaheim Bell, who you took last year out of Florida State. And if they do this, to me, that would be bad news for Bell. They might not because they already have Bell. But this is a guy who's got receiver skills who turned himself into a tight end. And I think, Vrabel has shown in the past he's willing to go for more of these undersized guys. Harold Fannin Jr. is another guy who's sort of in that mold. He's kind of in that, almost like a Jonnu Smith kind of mold where, you'd move him around the formation. He's not going to be a true Y in line and just bowl over people. But let's go. Okay, let's go with Rondé Gaston the second with our 7th pick. And I'm putting him back on the board, okay? So I'm going to put Eugene Asante back on the board. But let's also go with Jalen Travis, who's the tackle out of Iowa State. Let's go with, this would be a good time to put a kicker on the board. So let's do that, and people might go ahead and do that. But let's put Andres Borregales from Miami. We know the Patriots had multiple people, Jeremy Springer, the special teams coordinator, as well as one of their most valued front office people, Alonzo Highsmith, at Miami's Pro Day. Highsmith was the former GM at Miami before coming to New England, and so it makes sense that he was there. So we're going to have Borregales. We're going to have Jalen Travis. We're going to have Eugene Asante. And let's put one more name on the list, and let's put a quarterback on here. I just would be interested to see if people want to do that thing that they did last year.
What about Ty Robinson? Why no love for him?
Is Ty Robinson still available?
Ty Robinson is still available.
Bring me back to the defensive interior guys. I mean, we were interested in him before. I guess we could do it again. Thor Griffith still on the board there. Give me Nick Martin. Is Nick Martin still available? So he's a linebacker, and you could do it either way. If Nick Martin from Oklahoma State is still around, you might have to scroll down just a tad. He might be gone. Oh, there he is, Nicholas. With the rare Nickols spelling, Nick Martin. All right, so he's on the board too. And he's in that Eugene Asante mold to a degree where he's going to be undersized, but to me, 5'11", 221, he is a little reminiscent of David Long. And so I'll talk about him just for a second here. I don't know if we have video, and my God, we have video. Are we just blessed from the heavens with the amount of clips that we have of these players? This guy got hurt last year, and so he was not able to finish the season. He missed 7 games with a knee injury, but he was healthy enough to work out. He ran a 4.5 340, a 10.3 broad jump, and a 38-inch vertical. He's a 2-time captain for the Cowboys. 140 tackles 2 years ago, first team all Big 12. To me, he's an NFL caliber athlete. And again, similar mold to David Long, who played a lot of off-ball linebacker for Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. Long was 5'11", 223 back in the day. So, listen, we're throwing special teams guys at you. We're throwing guys with range at you. But we're throwing guys who, in my opinion, are violent. They are tacklers. They are leaders. They fit the bill as Vrabel types. And so, to me, to have Asante on there, to have Martin on there, that feels appropriate. Jalen Travis is interesting just because he is a freak of nature. And I don't really know why he's not being considered as a better option or a better potential option in the NFL. Jalen Travis, he did go to the Senior Bowl, a 9.91 RAS. That's out of 10, 9.91. 35-inch vertical leap. This guy is a behemoth. He went to Princeton for 4 years, then transferred to Iowa State. So you do have a look at him, both at the Senior Bowl and at Iowa State, as a guy who competed against better competition. But I look at him, and if you're looking for, I know we took Ariante Ursary. You don't have another tackle in this year's draft, and I don't think it's a horrible idea to continue and invest there. This guy's 6'8", 339 at the combine, just over 340 at his pro day. So all kinds of traits there, and he's smart. He's a Princeton Tiger, and they do a good job with that football program there. They know what they're doing in terms of coaching these guys up, and so I would love. He actually probably, as much as I love Eugene Asante, as much as I love Nick Martin, I think I might go Jalen Travis here because of the potential in the premium position. But how did the people vote, John Henry?
43% of the people want a kicker.
Get out of here. Do they really?
We got 26%
All
for
right,
Asante, 23% for Travis, and only 9% for Nick with a K.
All right, we'll go with the kicker because who am I to argue? It's not my draft. It's your draft. I got plenty of mock drafts that I'm able to do. But we round this one out with a kicker. And Borregales is one of the best in this year's class. You know, maybe you wonder about how that's going to translate from Miami to Foxborough, Massachusetts, and how he's going to kick late season. But there is our draft. We have officially wrapped it up. This went much longer than expected. I didn't die. The Skull Crusher's here. And I think we filled a lot of needs, and we hammered positions that not only the people want to hammer, but that the team wants to hammer in this year's draft class. Travis Hunter is listed there as a corner. He's playing receiver for the New England Patriots, and I think he wants to play receiver at the next level primarily, but you're sprinkling him in as a corner as well. We didn't take a corner the rest of the draft. I tried to do it. I tried to give you one. You didn't want Jacob Parrish. You didn't want any of these guys, Jordan Hancock, any of these slots/safeties. Not another DB on the list. So he's going to play a little DB for you. Ariante Urser, you get your left tackle. Tate Ratledge, you get your left guard. A little bit of projection there, but he should be able to do it right guard in college. You're asking him to play on the left side. Fantastic mullet. Maybe the best looking guy on this list. Kyle Williams, juice at the receiver position. Little bit undersized. He's going to look like a slot, and if they draft a player like Williams, you have to wonder what it means for Pop Douglas, but more of a vertical threat and a nasty yards after catch threat. Between Hunter and Williams, you have two guys there that could take it to the house on any touch. Ashton Gelati, maybe my favorite pick in terms of value in this year's draft for this mock draft because of the premium position and the productivity at a high level. Listen, ACC, it's not the SEC. It's not the Big Ten. ACC football, Ashton Gelati, 21% pass rush win rate, and a fantastic athlete with a really sturdy frame. I love that pick. You got a third down back in Trevor Etienne. You got Danny Stutman, the swaggerific Danny Stutman out of Oklahoma with the cowboy collar. Aronde Gadsden II is giving you some tight end depth. Don't know what that means for Jaheim Bell. Maybe we don't have a ton of Jaheim Bell fans out there in the internet world where you're voting on this and then you get a kicker to round things out. I love this class. I think you did a fantastic job. Yes, we had to help in terms of giving you the polling options, but this is your draft, people, and boy, did you get lucky. You lucky you-know-whats. Yeah, I mean, Travis Hunter with pick number 1 makes it a win. Skull Crusher, you have a favorite pick before we say bye to the people?
The mullet guy. The mullet guy.
He will forever be known, Tate Ratledge, as the mullet guy. Listen, want to thank you all so much for being involved here on the chat, being involved in making your voices heard with your votes in our poll. This is all about you. And we're going to write this up. We're going to throw it on NBCSportsBoston.com. You're going to be able to comment. Leave us a comment on YouTube. This is going to live on YouTube. And so we know we get loaded up with comments and back and forth. And I love it on the Next Pats podcast on a weekly basis. We want to continue to see that. Leave us your own mock drafts. Tell us your favorite pick in this specific mock draft. Tell us your least favorite pick. I'm going to go with the kicker, quite frankly. But you might have a different call. Exactly. I'll be doing that as soon as I leave the podcasting studio here. But you guys are tremendous. Thanks so much for commenting. Thanks so much for taking part in this. And continue to follow all of our draft coverage on NBCSportsBoston.com, on NBC Sports Boston with all of our programs. We're talking draft all the time on Early Edition, all the time on Boston Sports Tonight. Watch our On the Clock draft special on Thursday night, night 1 of the draft. We are going to be loading you up with intel, and follow us through draft weekend. We are going to be hammering this draft from every single angle humanly possible. Thanks so much for watching again on Next Pats, and we'll be coming at you again with another edition, not a live one, but another edition of the Next Pats podcast, where we will be emptying the notebook on everything we've heard on all the prospects you want to know about. We'll talk to you then.